What? What? Oh. No. There we go. All right, sick. All right. What's good, gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Ryan Terrell, Psych Sensei, and welcome to the stream, baby. Welcome to Ryan Reading with Ryan, and today we are going to talk about sleep procrastination. If you are a procrastinator like me, this is for you too. I'm kind of interested because I'd like to say that I'm well regulated and I like to go to sleep early, but at the same time, I do like me some scrolling. So we're gonna figure out, is it me? Is it biology? Is it research? I don't know. Is there a scientific reason why I don't want to go to sleep? We'll figure that out. But if you want to work with me for your sleep or your anxiety or your in-game stuff, visit my website, psychsensei.com, and you and I can sit down, figure out your win condition, and start working towards it today. Also, if you join my, if you go look at my website, you can get all the resources from my Instagram, my TikTok, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of it can be found there on my website, psychsensei.com. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's chilling. This disconnected really fast. Let me reconnect it. Let me clean my glasses so I can see a little bit. All right, why is this thing not casting? But while I try to avert this tragedy, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I got back into Valhalla, and I got to that place where I can make a bow. And let me tell you, I've been sniping things with that bow. That's all I really want to do, to be honest. I just want to play with my bow and shoot things. I also did get Minecraft. I thought that'd be something interesting for me because I thought I would like to build things, and I was incorrect. I don't want to build things. I just want to dig a hole. And I need that game, Dig a Hole, a game about digging a hole, to get more content, because I need more holes to dig my yard. What is happening? This was working a second ago, and now I'm getting tilted. Start receiver. Okay. Now receive this iPad. Yeah. All right. Without any further ado, let's jump into it, shall we? All right, baby. This article is called Postponing Sleep After a Stressful Day. Patterns of Stress, Bedtime Procrastination, and Sleep Outcomes in a Daily Diary Approach. I'm guessing they're going to write stuff down. This thing was written April 2023, so this is pretty recent. Not going to lie, it's pretty good. This comes from Germany, from Schmidt, Baitzner, Driesbusch, Mertens, and Silverding. Again, I'm so sorry for all you researchers there that I am just murdering your name, but I'm trying to give you your respect. Oh, I wish I could read this one, but JK, I cannot. All right, let us talk about sleep inertia then, shall we? Calling audible. All right, this really long article is called Sleep Inertia, and it was written 2000. So this has been around for a while, but we shall get into it. Let's learn about sleep inertia. Introduction. I'm really sad that I can read that article, but hey, false advertisement. All right, let's define our terms. Sleep inertia refers to the phenomenon of decreased performance and or disorientation occurring immediately after awakening from sleep relative to pre-sleep status. Decreased performance and disorientation. Where am I? Okay. Historically, the first study dates from 1961. Dude, I didn't know like sleep inertia was such an old concept. I thought it was recent. It's not. All right, and was followed by a series of experiments. Oh my goodness. Followed by a series of experiments, all of them showing that subjects tested for 10 minutes immediately after waking performed worse when their tasks were carried out just before retiring. Interesting. Okay. Subjects tested 10 minutes immediately after waking perform worse than tasks carried out just before sleeping or retiring. So, if this is true, the research from 1961 would say that if you have a scrim, if you, I guess this also goes to work too, if you work from home or whatever, if you're waking up 10 minutes before the thing that you need to do, you're probably not going to do your best. So if you're waking up for your scrim 5 to 10, not even, maybe even 15 minutes before you got to do it, you're going to suck. And that's because you got this sleep inertia thing. But interestingly, I'm not sure if you just did this before going to sleep, how much better it would be. I'm guessing it'd still kind of suck, but hey, I guess when you're tired, going to bed is better than if you're waking up. Oh. Botton first called this state sleep drunkenness. Bruh, I like that. I say we don't call it sleep inertia. I say we go for sleep drunkenness, referring to behavioral slowdown observed after abruptly awakening. It also been called post-sleep disorientation until Lubin et al. Gave this phenomenon its actual name, sleep inertia. It has been shown that if sleep inertia, SI, always exists, its magnitude is dependent on several factors such as prior sleep duration, interesting, sleep stage prior to awakening, I mean, that makes sense, and existence of prior sleep deprivation. Interesting. Okay. Sleep inertia is also dependent on time of day of awakening. All right, so there's different facts of sleep inertia. Duration. Oopsies. So we got sleep duration. We got 1 fact, 2 fact, 3 fact, 4 facts of sleep inertia. Okay? Concerning the effects of sleep inertia, many studies have suggested that its severity depends on the type of task subjects are achieving. This interaction could determine its time course, and consequently its duration, which is another controversial issue. Time course and consequence and its duration. Whatever the duration of sleep inertia, it has also been questioned whether environmental factors known to enhance alertness could modify its intensity, whether by improving or deteriorating its performance. Sleep inertia has been rarely studied in the context of sleep disorders. It has been mentioned that obstructive sleep apnea syndrome patients have markedly increased sleep inertia, and similar results have been obtained in narcolepsy, cataplexy. Ooh. Well, I guess that means the quality of sleep affects the inertia. All these studies suggest the nature of sleep inertia refers to the transitional process between one state of arousal to another, namely between sleep and waking. Ooh. Hypnotic drive. Hypnopompic. That's a sick name. Hypnopompic. I learned a new word today. This process may not act on an all or nothing basis, but rather according to a slow and progressive mechanism. We also question the relationship between sleep inertia and the underlying psychophysiological processes with the hypothesis that arousal and vigilance could be functionally two different states. Huh. Arousal and vigilance. I guess so. I guess one is like excited, and the other one is like attention. If this is true, there's a theoretical approach could help understanding at least some of the controversial findings concerning sleep inertia effects on performance. All right, now they're going to go through each one of these four things. Okay, so sleep inertia and prior sleep duration. Sleep inertia exists whatever the duration of prior sleep episodes. Recently, Jewett et al. 1999 showed that a normal full 8-hour episode, the time course of sleep inertia dissipation for subject alertness and cognitive throughput lasted for more than 2 hours after awakening. Whoa. Okay, wait. Full 8 hours lasted more than 2 hours. Even if subjects who are not sleep deprived and were sleeping at their usual times. In the additional tasks, the author scored the decrements of 10.7% in number of sums attempted in 2 minutes, irrespective of errors. This results, unfortunately, does not allow the determination of whether the error state was also increased by sleep inertia. Figures. However, since sleep inertia constitutes a major concern for subjective task performance, it is clear that it has been studied essentially under conditions of rather short naps to evaluate the cost balance of intermittent sleep in continuous operations of shifting work conditions. I'm still tripping out that like it lasts for 2 hours. Like the feeling of sleepiness or whatever, your decreased performance still lasts for 2 hours, even if you had 8 hours of sleep. Which then makes me think that you should be at least up 2 hours before you perform to really shake off that sleep inertia, or like to not be tired or have the lingering effects of sleep inertia affect your performance, All right. However, since sleep inertia, okay, we did that. Okay, constitutes a major concern for subsequent task performance, it is clear that it has been studied essentially under concerning effectiveness of space crew performance. It has been suggested that as far as sleep inertia is concerned, a simultaneous sleep schedule where each of 2 crew members could assume an 8-hour sleep period would be more advantageous than a staggered sleep schedule, where crew members are allowed to sleep for short periods, with crew members expected to be optimally efficient within 2 minutes subsequent to a potential alarm. All right, so now they're looking at space people and seeing how they could be more awake in 2 minutes. If they could be more awake in 2 minutes after an alarm. In this study, it's interesting. This is a space study, bro. This is a space study. In this study, Seminara et al. Showed that sleep inertia produced a decrement in reaction time ranging from 12 to 360% of pre-sleep performance, depending on the type of task. Jesus. 12 to 360. Right? That's what we're talking about here. We're not talking like a little bit of performance. Sure, maybe make it, okay, 12% is not that bad. But I mean, it's still a bit more than 10. And let's be real, 10's kind of a lot because I still want 10% discount. You know what I mean? But 360% discount is staggering. That's like 3 for free. Almost 4. 3.5 for free. I mean, well, it's 3.6, but who's counting? All right, the more complex one being less affected than the more simple. Interesting. I wonder why the more complex being less affected than the simple. Maybe it's because if it's a simple task, it's too boring and you're like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Versus, wow, this is really complex. My brain needs to be working now. You know what I mean? This data suggests differential effects of sleep inertia depending on task complexity and performance index, speed versus accuracy. Okay, I see that. I see you. I see you. That makes sense. In a polyphasic sleep schedule, the effects of sleep inertia were measured from different nap durations. Subjects were allowed to sleep for 4 hours of nocturnal anchor sleep, while the remaining 4 hours of daytime sleep were divided into multiple 20, 50, or 80-minute naps. Hence, subjects suffered no specific sleep deprivation. Interesting. They appeared to adapt well to all three sleep schedules, but depending on the type of task, the effects of sleep inertia were slightly different. Interesting. In the memory and search test, which requires a high level of cognitive involvement, the decrement related to pre-sleep levels was of 3, 8, and 14% respectively for the 20, 50, and 80-minute naps. Interesting. Well, I mean, if we kind of go with the definition of what inertia is, right? For example, a body in rest remains in rest versus like a body in motion remains in motion. I guess it also means like the less time you were sleeping also, I guess, dictates less sleep inertia because you've been doing it for less, but if you're like, if you're sleeping for like 80 minutes, that makes sense then if this is higher because you're doing the sleeping and needing to you're in rest longer than you are in motion. Maybe that's how it makes sense. Excuse me. Okay, performance assessed by the descending subtraction test showed post-arousal means decrements which were far more pronounced. Okay. 21, 36, 25. Interesting. Interesting that it was like bad, worse, not bad, a little better, a little worser. This task scored the number of correct subtractions attempted per unit time, which actually represented the speed of information processing. This data suggests that altogether, SI was most intense for the intermediate 50-minute nap and surprisingly less intense for the most extreme condition 20-minute nap. The apparent contradiction with previous results found that the effects of sleep duration can be well explained in terms of sleep stages prior to awakening. Okay, so more sleep equals more inertia. And then it was what? Harder tasks? I figure though. So high high hog demand equal less sleep inertia. Interesting. Okay. All right, so that was condition 1. Condition 2 is the effects of sleep stage prior to waking on sleep inertia. So I think there's 4 stages of sleep and then REM. I don't know. All right. Stampy et al. Showed that duration of the 20-minute nap condition. Subjects never underwent a SWS episode. What is an SWS episode? Don't tell me they did. Like, I defined this in my thing. Of course I did. Slow wave sleep. Okay. All right. During the 20-minute nap, subjects never underwent the slow wave sleep episode and were always awakened during stage 2. The same occurred in the 80-minute nap condition, except the subjects were sometimes awakened during rapid eye movement episode REM, making this sleep condition intermediate in the terms of sleep inertia effects. All right, as mentioned above, the most delirious sleep schedules, is that correct? I hope so. Delirious sleep schedules was a 50-minute nap condition with naps long enough to allow subjects to initiate slow wave sleep, but not long enough to return to stage 1 or 2. Produces no substantial decrement on subsequent performance. Interesting. Okay, so if no slow wave sleep equals less sleep inertia. Okay, but if you go through REM, you're fine, I guess. But it seems that slow wave sleep, if you don't go into it, you'll have less sleepiness. But then again, I guess the question is, if you didn't go into slow wave sleep, were you actually sleeping or getting like the effects of sleep? All right, so no slow wave sleep equals no sleep inertia. Interesting. Okay. In a short-term memory task where subjects were presented a a word list 1 minute after arousal. So they just got woken up and like, here's your words. From different sleep stages, Stones, this is crazy, that was in 1997, found that memory performance after arousal from stage 1, 2, or REM was so high as to be indistinguishable from that obtained under no sleep condition. Whoa, okay. Okay. You know the shit thing is, though? I mean, maybe they make wearables about this, but I'd be really interested, too, to think about, like, okay, this person is sleeping during this, they've achieved this stage and this stage. Okay, wake them up! You know what I mean? Versus, like, all right, we're just gonna let you sleep. But if you wanted to do the science on yourself, I guess you could. I mean, I think there are some wearables that, like, track what stage you are and kind of wake you up during it, you know, but I see that. Okay, however, effects on sleep inertia after awakening from REM sleep show some controversial findings. Although Stone could not find any effect of sleep inertia after arousal from REM sleep, Kulak found in similar conditions a significant decrement in performance in visual, spatial, and auditory tasks. Visual, spatial, and auditory tasks. These authors observed that the decrement was more pronounced after REM period with higher eye movement density than after REM period with lower eye movement density. According to these authors, the REM period could result in two different substages depending on dream emotionality. Interesting, which could interfere with subsequent task performance, particularly if they require high attentional levels. But it should be also stressed that while Stones used memory tests with a high cognitive load, Kulak et al. Scored performance on rather low demanding perceptual and motor tasks. This difference could partially explain the discrepancies concerning the effects of arousal from REM. Okay, so it's out. Yo, Rip Div, what's up, baby? I'm doing well, dude. Long time no see. Hope you've been well. Yeah, I hope you're good, man. I'm good. We're just reading about some sleep inertia stuff, man. Sleep inertia stuff. And the different levels of sleep and nerding out on the types of sleep. I wanted to read something about, what's your face? Sleep procrastination. But, oops, that article is only like a page. So, here we are. How about you, man? Hope you're doing well. However, it seems absolutely clear that awakening after an episode of slow wave sleep episode produced the maximum. Webb and Agnew were among the first authors to demonstrate that subjects aroused from afternoon naps during a stage 4 episode exhibited a significant decrement in sensory motor tasks, measuring discrimination, reaction time, and time to complete a whole serial task. They found a 12% decrement relative to pre-sleep levels. In the same way, Felton and Broughton reported an increased reaction time after slow wave sleep as compared to REM sleep. All right, so what this is saying is don't go to REM, or REM indicates presence or increases presence of sleep inertia. Bro, that means I'm gonna guess when they go into like sleep deprivation, my guess is your sleep deprivation is going to make your sleep inertia worse. Okay, measure reaction time in a psychological paradigm by Pearson's law. Has also been shown that since heightened sensory thresholds are instituted by sleep system to lessen arousability, sensory performance can abruptly awaken sensory performance after abruptly awakening is usually more impaired after awakening from slow wave than from stages 2. Okay. Bro, vibing tonight, just hanging out while doing some research, so apologies for sparse replies, buddy. No apology needed. We are doing research together. That's it. What's your research? Tell me, is it more fun than sleep inertia? Because if so, I'll do it. I'll do your research, bro. All right, we've hit it. Okay, so far, REM sleep, slow wave sleep equal more sleep inertia. Sleep duration, more sleep, which means more chances of you getting into slow wave sleep, and REM sleep equals more sleep inertia. I mean, these things are making sleep to me. Making sense to me. Okay, before I read this, this is my hypothesis. You ready? This is my hypothesis. My hypothesis is more sleep deprivation equals, I'll write it here. This is my guess. Ready? More sleep deprivation equals more sleep inertia. That is my hypothesis. If I'm correct, yay. And if I'm wrong, I'll do some push-ups. We'll see. Hope I don't have to do push-ups. All right. Prior sleep deprivation is another important factor responsible for severity of sleep inertia. Dings et al. Measured performance in reaction time and the descending subtraction test. Dude, I would suck at this test. It's like, okay, start from 100 and minus 7. Bro. It'd be over. Okay, upon abruptly awakening following a 2-hour nap, after 6, 18, 30, 42, or 54 hours of sleep deprivation, so they're poking them with sticks, they're playing music, they're shaking them. They showed that sleep deprivation increased the amount of step sleep in all the naps, and irrespectively of sleep stage prior to awakening, this was associated with greater post-nap cognitive defects. So, in conclusion, sleep deprivation bad for cognitive performance, or just thinking. In conclusion, don't do that. I'm gonna highlight this in red. Greater post-nap cognitive defects. I like how they say that. Not cognitive errors. You have cognitive defects, bro. Suggesting that the sleep architecture as a whole, and not only sleep stage prior to awakening, could be a critical factor to generate sleep inertia. Fair. Their reaction time task showed maximal decrement at awakening for the naps placed after 18, 42, and 54 hours of sleep deprivation. Okay. Bad sleep equal bad awake. Noted, bro. Absolutely. Okay, so here's the question, right? Here's my question. If this is true, right? 18 hours. If you're awake for 18 hours, according to the study, increase in sleep inertia, right? So if you're staying up for 18 hours, your performance is probably going to be bad. Your reaction is probably going to be bad. Your sleep is probably going to be shit. But if you're staying up for, 2 days around because you're trying to fix your sleep schedule, 42 hours, you're going to feel like shit. And if you're 54, you're going to feel like shit even more. So, I mean, Go to sleep. In conclusion, go to sleep. Which scored the most? Because, I mean, if you think about it, right? Another thing that we can even be looking at is, like, sleep rebound. And, like, how your body wants to put you down when you don't sleep and you're experiencing sleep deprivation. So, I mean, the best part, too, is I'm wondering if this is, like, willful behavior or not. And that kind of dictates everything, too. So. All right. The DST was measured by the number of correct responses per unit time, which is considered by us as an index of speed of information processing. It showed that relative to pre-nap performance, the decrement was kind of gnarly. Decrements were 26.6%, 38.4%, 37.6%, 70.9%, and 70.9%. Respectively for naps in the 6, 18, 30, 42, 54 hours of sleep loss, suggesting that except for the 30-hour nap, sleep inertia increased in a linear trend with sleep loss and slow wave sleep amount during the naps. Similar result was found in the other studies. Okay, so 30 hours, maybe you get a little better. There's a little bit of a rebound, which is interesting. There is an increase in, increase in performance, sure, but it's still shit, right? Like from 38% bad to 37% bad. I guess you're doing a little bit better. What was that? 0.8 improvement. But I mean, it's still bad. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say that like there's an improvement or like there's like a second win per se. It's still all bad. Just not as bad, question mark? I don't know. All right. All right. In a polyphasic sleep schedule lasting for 48 days with a reduction in sleep to 3 hours per day. Who can do this? Like, I wonder how this feels. I just want to try it on for like an hour just to see how it feels to run on 3 hours of sleep every day. Stampy and Davis showed that the general performance in the DST, what's your face? DST, please tell me in the abstract. Did I move something? Oh, here. There it is. Sorry. Descending subtraction test. My bad. All right. All right. The polyphy performance on the... What do they call this? Descending subtraction test. And the... I think it's addition test. What is that thing? Okay. All right. Show that general performance on the DST and the MAST did not decrease dramatically over the whole experimental period. However, sleep inertia was far more severe in the DST than the MST, as previously observed, probably because the subtraction test was here scored. Test was scored with a speed index, while the memory task was scored on correct reported items on an otherwise demanding task. Okay, so this is speed versus speed versus accuracy? Question mark. I'm guessing that's how I think they're going to try to frame that. However, in important sleep deprivation, However, sleep deprivation is not necessary to produce similar results. Gilbert, 1984, compared sleep inertia intensity after a 1 hour nap at, I know this, 9:30 or 4:30, which would be 16, or is this 21 30 hours, or 4 hours 30 minutes? In both conditions, subjects were partially sleep deprived since they only slept only 4 hours during the previous night. Yikes. The authors showed that sleep inertia was more important at 4 hours 30 because sleep loss was slightly greater than at 21:30. However, he did not discuss a possible chronobiological effect of this difference, which could also explain his result. Falkland and Badia also assessed performance over the night in a partial sleep deprivation paradigm. During 4 consecutive nights, subjects were awakened every hour. Oh my god, could you imagine getting woken up every single hour to this stupid test? I just want to go sleep. From 0:40 to 5:40 for a 20-minute test session. So they're really only sleeping like 20 minutes? Or is it like, I can finish the test and then go to sleep? Or is it like, I go to sleep and then in 60 minutes from the time I slept, I take it again? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. All right. Sleepiness ratings and performance on 5-minute addition tasks were measured at 1.5, 7.5, and 13.5 minutes post-awakening. The results showed that the magnitude of decrement on performance on the addition test after awakening increased progressively with time, indicating that even within a very reduced sleep deprivation paradigm, sleep inertia was enhanced by sleep loss in a dose-dependent manner. Wow, okay. So, what this also tells me is that, like, when people will, like, say, like, well, I'm already up this much, I might as well keep staying up. Yo, what this tells me is that it can be bad if you go to sleep deprived, but it gets worse the more sleep deprived you are. So, instead of staying up for 24 hours and trying to fix your schedule, go to sleep now and try to address it insta. Because it's only going to get worse the more you stay up. Or, sorry, maybe it's perceptionally, it's only going to get worse the more you stay up. Because I do think it's a lot of feeling and how bad you feel with the sleep that you got. But just know that staying up later only makes it worse, according to research. That's nuts. Makes SI worse. Underline, underline, underline. So, conclusion here is go to sleep. Here it is. Like this. The results show that the magnitude of decrement in performance on the addition test after awakening increased progressively with time, indicating that within a very reduced sleep deprivation paradigm, sleep inertia was enhanced by sleep loss in a dose-dependent manner. Massive. Although the mean sleep scores of additional tests administered prior to sleep did not change across 4 nights, when administered shortly after awakening, they declined from 18.7 on night 1 to 10.2 on night 4, which, as would be predicted under conditions of increasing sleepiness, the decline was due to the reduction in the mean number of problems attempted, even though the mean percentage of errors also increased from 10 to 23% across nights 1 to 4. Okay, you ready? However, Tassi et al. Showed that sleep inertia in a 1-night partial sleep deprivation paradigm showed the most adverse effects on spatial memory in the early nap as compared to a late nap. Fascinating. This was the consequence of a a preponderance of awakening in shortwave sleep during the early naps, suggesting that when naps are of short duration, 1 hour, and sleep deprivation of moderate amplitude, the most critical factor is sleep stage in awakening rather than the absolute amount of sleep lost. Okay, that's interesting too. So, although it seems that it's a crayon, although it does seem that sleep deprivation is a factor, it also seems that the time and stage that you are in of your sleep also makes a difference. But I think the statement stands. The longer slash more sleep deprived you are, the worse sleep inertia is, and your performance go down. So, if you want to protect your performance, just go to sleep. Just go to sleep. So stop trying to stay up again for 24 hours trying to fix it. It only makes it worse. It only makes it worse. Time of day, effect on sleep inertia. Naito were among the first to raise the question whether there was a best time not to wake up. Is there a best time not to wake up? All the time. The authors examined whether there could be best and worst hours to wake up stemming from circadian rhythm effects on sleep inertia. Since the process of falling asleep is strongly influenced by the circadian time, the reverse process of awakening could be similarly affected. In their study, subjects remained awake for 64 hours. Raw. Dude, that's freaking science. That is science. Continuous work period except for 20-minute sleep periods every 6 hours, while another group was not allowed to sleep during the same period. Sleep inertia was measured with Baddeley's logical reasoning task, which is known to be very sensitive to sleep deprivation effects. There appeared to be no specific circadian time when sleep inertia was either maximal or minimal, suggesting that there is no advantages realized on sleep inertia by waking up from sleep at specific times of day. All right, so it doesn't matter. Time of day do not matter. If you're tired, you're going to experience the inertia, bruh. This is fascinating. This is a long. Well, we're gonna get through as much as we can. This is interesting, though. It's interesting. Maybe we'll type some notes because it looks like it breaks it up for us kind of nicely. All right, this result is, however, isolated since two other studies reported quite different conclusions. The former, performed by Dings et al., suggested that sleep inertia was more severe around the circadian through and less severe near circadian peak in core body temperature. Oh my god. Now we're getting to core body temperature? Why? How do you know? Okay, in this experiment, subjects underwent a 2-hour nap placed near either the circadian peak or through in body temperature, and preceded by 6, 18, 30, 42, and 54 hours of sleep deprivation. Shit. Although sleep deprivation increased the amount of slow wave sleep, naps placed in the through produce greater cognitive decrements than naps placed in the peak. Interesting. Okay. So trough, I guess not great, but the through, placed in the peak, great. Even when the latter involved more prior sleep loss. This result is consistent with other studies, and therefore the authors suggest that the relationship between the amount of sleep deprivation and the extent of the decrements is non-linear due to the interactions with circadian placements of the naps. Wilkinson and Stretton emphasized differential effects as the function of type of task. They showed that reaction time was most increased in the early part of the night because of depths of preceding sleep, while adding while adding and coordination tasks, which are more demanding cognitive tasks, were more influenced by the trough, the circadian cycle of physiological activity. Oh my god, now we're getting into the weeds because, like, it sounds like depending on the time of day and the type of task, and depending on how cognitively taxing the task was at the time of day or near your circadian peak or trough, is going to make an effect on the effects of sleep inertia. Oh my god. Okay, let me think about this. Let me chew on it for a hot second because they had me here. The trough and the peak. They had me here. So they're saying that before you go to sleep, reaction time, if the reaction time increases, it gets longer, right? So it sounds like let's write it down. Okay, so reaction time. Okay, that's reaction time goes down at the trough, right? Yeah. During trough. Okay, and that means though. Okay. Coordination tasks. Or more influenced by the. Okay, wait, hold this. So they're both troughs. Early part of the night is trough. Okay. So trough. Okay. So it seems that, like, your body naturally wants to go to sleep at night. Thus your reaction time increases, which is bad. And the cognitive decrements of naps also bad in nighttime. So it's better to go sleep at night. Sucks. You want to sleep at night. I think that's what this is telling you. This result is consistent with other studies, and therefore the authors suggest that the relationship between the amount of sleep deprivation and the extent of the decrements is nonlinear due to the interactions with circadian placement of naps. Wilkinson and Stretton emphasize differential effects as the function of effects of function of type of task. They showed that reaction time was most increased in the early part of the night because of the depths of preceding sleep, while adding and coordination tasks, which are more demanding cognitive tasks, were more influenced by the trough in the circadian cycle of physiological activity. So both troughed. Balkan and Badia suggested that circadian effects on sleep inertia could be dependent on the type of measures and on the amount of prior sleep loss. In a 4-night partial sleep deprivation paradigm, they found that performance rates were less sensitive to the time of night than self-rating scales, since subjective sleepiness followed a circadian trend, increased sleepiness across the night, but performance level remained more or less stable night 1. With increasing sleep loss, nights 2 to 4, performance as well as subjective ratings failed to show this typical circadian pattern, probably because the sleep disruption/restriction procedure, combined with the subject's circadian sleep tendencies, had a synergistic effect, causing them to approach their lower limit. Okay. Okay. Finally, Lalive and Weller carried out an ultra short sleep wake experiment on the basis of 13-minute waking, 7 resting sleep paradigm after one night of total sleep deprivation. The ultra short sleep wake cycle started at 700 hours and was interrupted after 1500 hours or 1900 for 2-hour naps. The first condition was termed the early nap and the second the late nap. Their results show that the early naps, 15 to 1700, produce less sleep inertia. Interesting. Although they contain more stage 3 and 4 than the late naps. According to the authors, this is best explained by the fact that after the early nap, performance measures coincided with a forbidden zone for sleep, suggesting that in this case, a best time to wake up regardless of sleep architecture. Yeah, okay, so how I would use this. How would I use these 4 things? So they want to know these 4 factors, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So in conclusion, what I gander is the longer you sleep, the more inertia you're going to feel. What I gander from this, oh, whoa. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, what I gather from this one is if you do REM or shortwave sleep, you probably will feel sleep inertia. What I gather from this one, more sleep deprivation, more sleep inertia. Depending on time of day, I think that's kind of a crapshoot. I think it sounds like if you do the waking up during the nighttime, worse, or the nighttime stuff makes you want to wind down, thus increasing your time of reaction speed. So the slower you are, and the more energy you need to think. That's what I think. I think the biggest takeaways for me, honestly, is if you're actually sleep deprived and you want to stay up later to try to fix your sleep schedule, you're actually kind of high-key making it worse. You know? This is really interesting, I guess. Like, yeah. I think the other thing that's really important to realize, too, is that you can't wake up 5 to 10 minutes before you need to do the thing and perform. That's bad. I think another thing that's really interesting is, like, 8 hours. Even if you had 8 hours of sleep, you may still feel the effects of sleep inertia for 2 hours. So even if you had a great night's sleep, you had a lot of it, you might still have the experience of bad performance 2 hours after you wake up. So, if you have a big game, the thing I'm thinking about is it might be important for you to wake up 2.5 hours before your game to do your stretches or just wake up or have that general I'm awake feeling so you can perform. That being said, if you are sleep deprived, your performance might be severely affected and you also might severely feel the effects of sleep inertia. I mean, sleep stages aside, like, I think the hardest thing is if you do not have proper sleep hygiene or you're not, if you're slipping into bad sleep habits, that you're more likely to have sleep inertia because the sleep stages are going to be all jacked up because of your deprivation. So, I mean, it's really interesting because I feel like all these things are connected. For example, if you're the time of day, like if you are trying to play all night long and your reaction time goes down or your thinking is more hampered, it's because I guess the research shows that right before you go to sleep, things tend to slow down. So if you're trying to stay up all night and then perform, it's not as beneficial as sleeping in nighttime and then performing in the afternoon or like early evening, not so close to when you're going to go to sleep, which is really interesting, I think, because how many players or people say that, oh, I'm a night owl, I need to stay up really late and that's when I do my best work. Sure, maybe, and also those people say like, oh, it's because everything is so quiet and I can focus on the thing. It's a focus and attentional issue. But at the same time, if you are unable to demonstrate the things you want to demonstrate because you're sleepy, sounds kind of like a trade, you know? Like, it is kind of a trade, so I don't know. The interesting thing too is like it's also dose dependent. So depending on how much sleep loss you have or sleep deprivation you have, the worse this is going to be. I don't. And the interesting thing about this too is I was also kind of looking for if there was like a spike. Like, is there a second wind if you are sleep deprived? And the answer is no. There's not really. I mean, they did kind of say that it does get better. Where's this one? Where is it? Here. In this one study, when they looked at sleep deprivation, there was a slight improvement between 18 and 30 hours. So in 18 hours, it was 38.4, and then 30 hours, it was 37.6. So there's a slight improvement. But then, bro, look at 42. It's at 70.9. It's almost double the badness. It's double the badness. Interesting fact. Very, very interesting. Here's the worst part, though. Here's the worst part. What are you gonna do with this information? You know what I mean by the what's the worst part is like, okay, so we're reading all this stuff, right? You can acknowledge that all this is bad, and you can understand all the things about why you're tired and why you're feeling this way. But here's the question: would you like to use this data to be better? That's the question. Or are you gonna be like me and use this data to just cope, bro? I'd say we might just go. All right. Well, I think what I want to do is maybe I'll finish this article next Thursday because it's kind of long, and I don't want to get burned out reading it. But these are really interesting facts. Interessante facts. All right. Wait, I'm curious though. If all right, friends, I have to get ready for a client that I have in a little bit. So I think I'll leave this here for this week. Shout out to Reactive. What's up, baby? Long time no see. Hope you've been well. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you learned a little bit about sleep inertia, and I hope you go to sleep and don't stay up too late. And remember, your performance goes down the longer that you're not sleeping. So let's develop some nice sleep habits for you tonight. Try to get some sleep. Don't do the procrastination. Come back on Thursday. Shoot, that's a lie. Check the schedule again. That is a lie. Thursday's getting a little squishy. Let me try to double check. Okay, so I'll see you on Thursday at 4. I'm going to try to squeeze it in at 4. If not, I'm going to try to come back on Friday when I have a little more free time. But yeah, Thursday, Friday. I'll see you at 4. Around there. If you don't want to miss this stream or you don't want to miss any of the resources, please go to my website, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, all of it there. Never miss anything I drop or stream. But I'll see you guys on Thursday. Thanks for hanging out. Please stay warm. Please stay safe. Mwah. Love you. And remember, stronger mental wins, baby. All right, pieces. Love ya. Bye.